Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy do I have a surprise for you. I have on Zoom with me right now Patrika Darbo, and she played Nancy Wesley on Days of Our Lives and Shannon Permatteo in Hatchet. Hi Patrika, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining me. I'm very excited to have you on. We definitely have two things we're talking about today, Days of Our Lives and Hatchet.
Okay.
So,
But
and I
also remember, I'm also Bold and the Beautiful and other
that is
things.
true. Plenty of
I'm a
things.
soap diva.
Absolutely. And you also starred in an episode of Roseanne, which I do have a question about that on this podcast as well.
Okay,
So
okay.
I'm excited about that. So the first question I got for you is, how did you get your start into acting?
Well, my mother would say I came out of the womb acting and called me Sarah Bernhardt most of my life. But we are products of some of the tragedies of childhood, and I'm still here and I'm doing well, so I guess I'm all right. But I did high school, college, community theater, which is also where I met my husband, and we were married 48 years this year. Nice. So that's how I started out.
That's awesome. So we'll go right into the Roseanne question. I got one of those for you. So of course we know you as you appeared in an episode of Roseanne, part of Dan's Fantasy Lover. So what was it like working on that show?
Well, I mean, it was pretty nice. When I did it, there was a little bit of tension going on and stuff like that. People would do their stuff and then fly to their dressing rooms and things. But in general, my experience was wonderful. She was very generous and kind to me. And the crew was wonderful. And so I had a great experience. And as an actor there, I get these little residual checks to remind me that it was fun. So yes, I had a good time. It was even better getting to play her in the Tom and Roseanne show. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I remember because my dad, he's battling stage 4 brain cancer, and they gave him a year and a half to live. And this was 4 years ago. This year will be 5 years, and he's still doing good. So that's amazing. And he had a stroke right afterwards, and then right after brain surgery, and they gave him 24 hours to live. Well, they did another MRI, and here it turns out he woke up from his coma and everything, and his MRI was completely different than the first one. It was like a total miracle, which is
I'm a firm believer when your number's up, but if it's not up,
exactly. There's so much more to do here, which brings me to my point that
my dad hold on to the promise. Yes, hold on.
Absolutely. And my dad, he is a big fan of Roseanne. We watch. I live in Maryland, and I drive. It's about a 3-hour drive every weekend to go home to visit him and my mom. And he's a big fan of Roseanne, and he watches it. We watch it together almost religiously every Saturday together. And when I said that I'm interviewing Patrika Darbo, he's like, "That name sounds familiar. Wasn't she in Roseanne?" I'm like, "Yes." You knew you're right from Roseanne. And then my mom knows you from Days of Our Lives. She doesn't watch Days anymore, but she watched it back when you were on, and she's a big fan of Days, and I've been watching it since about 95.
I have so many fans that have become friends over the 20 years that I've participated in that show, and it's kudos. It's a wonderful thing. It's one of those things where you're in their homes my fans' homes every single day, and we become family. And sometimes I would not realize that when they were screaming Nancy, Nancy in an airport that they were talking to me. It never registered right away. So
absolutely.
For anybody that I ignored, I apologize profusely. So.
Well, I'm so glad you're able to be here because I am a huge fan of Days. I didn't watch today's episode yet, but I watched Days since 1995. I remember my very first storyline was the Marlena possession storyline.
Well, how did you get to see what am I trying to say? Christian doing the 3-movie series just recently on Lifetime?
I have it taped, but I haven't watched it yet.
Well, she's wonderful in it.
Yes.
But you kind of go,
so many good things.
That's not.
I know. I heard she is a villain in this.
Yes, she's wonderful. She's wonderful.
Yep, wonderful. And I definitely want to see it. I have it taped on DVR, so I want to watch it. I'm so busy. I have literally 4 interviews this week. I have 2 next week. It's crazy.
But that's good. That's growing your audience too. So that's
absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So now going into Days, what was your audition like for Nancy Wesley on Days?
I did not have to audition.
Ooh.
The casting director asked me at a party, we were at a mutual friend's party, and Fran Bascom, may she rest in peace, asked me, she said, Patrika, would you do a soap? And I went, of course I will. I said, you know, I'm an actor. I live to perform. Yes, I do a
Right.
soap. In my mind, I'm thinking I'm going on to serve beer and peanuts
Hmm.
because I'm not a size 2. Well, I am. I have a 0 after my 2 instead of in front of my 2. So
Right.
I had nothing was in my realm about being a soap person. Just I'll be there a day and then I'm gone. Anyway, so I got on there, and then they introduced me to Kevin, who we kind of knew but we didn't know, and I was like, husband, he's my husband. What? 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 They have the wrong person. They don't know who I am. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway, they did have the right person. We came on to just do a few episodes, and by the time the first episode aired, we both had 3-year contracts. So
Nice. That is
it
awesome.
was wonderful.
That is awesome. And I mean, you have so many memorable storylines. Two that come to mind is the Chloe, well, three actually that come to mind. Chloe, of course, getting in that automobile accident, and like, she's hiding her face from Brady. Because you were really heavily involved with that, like trying to push her to
Oh
see
my gosh.
Brady.
Then there was with the scar and the person trying to,
Yep.
oh, yes, yes,
And
yes.
then another one I remember is the whole paternity, like the you being her parents, like, it's like I guess she didn't know at the time that you guys were actually her parents, and that whole thing, that was very sad. And
That was a hard one because that was where I was asking her to lie because Kevin, my husband, didn't know about it at
that's
all.
right, yes.
But it was a wonderful happy ending in finding out that who I thought was her
Mhm.
father that I wanted no part of, um, it was not him. It was Kevin was the father, and
Right.
that made it nice. So
That was awesome. And then the other one obviously is the leukemia storyline. I mean,
wonderful story. That was
those.
written by Paula Swickley. She's not there anymore. She was the head writer for a while and been just a regular writer too. But
Mhm.
she was it was a wonderful storyline. It was her idea and really great stuff.
It really was good. It brought me tears. I mean, I was a kid at the time during that. I was probably maybe in early, like preteens, teenager-ish, and it brought like tears to my eyes because like at that time it really introduced me to cancer and leukemia because not many people like really know that type of stuff until they're a teenager. Maybe unless they actually experienced it in their family at a younger age. But it really brought that to me and it made it more real. And my mom explained it to me and she's like, it's just a soap, it's not real, and this is what it is. And like what a good parent would do.
Yeah, they tried to get
Mhm.
to address shows that are going on in other people's lives so that
Yep,
people are all aware of kind of stuff. I
absolutely.
always say right now it would be great to come back to Salem with Joy,
Yeah,
who is probably a little resentful of her sister that, thinking that she
I
was only
agree.
conceived to save her life and not,
Yeah,
so it would be
absolutely.
an interesting thing. And
It would be.
she would be like 18 or 19 now. So it would be
Yeah.
kind of a interesting
That would be an
dynamics
interesting
going on
dynamic
there.
there.
Yeah.
That would be really, really cool. I would love to see that.
That
So
would, yeah.
what was the biggest challenge on bringing the character of Nancy Wesley to life?
Well, it's good to be the bitch. I love the fact that Kevin and I we were not overtly evil. We were just manipulative. And
Right.
if you allowed yourself to be manipulated, whoop, too bad. So
Right.
it was fun to be the villain. It was fun. It was fun.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So walk us through the process of on the filming schedule of days. Like for example, is it fast paced? How many episodes are usually filmed in a day and all that stuff?
Well, we usually film one script a day, at least one show, and that is generally the same size as a movie script.
Oh,
The
wow.
number of pages we do,
Yeah.
but we shoot it in a day, whereas a television script for the Equalizer would take 10 to
Mhm.
15 days.
Right.
So I have great respect for everyone that I have met and worked with in the soaps because it's a lot of memorization and you don't get a lot of second chances when you're
Absolutely.
performing because they have to get through an entire script in a day. So you may
Absolutely.
get 1 or 2, maybe 3 takes, depending on sometimes it's not your fault. The camera was not in the right
Hmm.
place, or you need to move to further to the right because we're getting something growing out of your head, that kind of stuff. So
Right.
in those little tech things, but
Yeah.
you know, your call time may be 6 in the morning, and you get there, get in hair and makeup, you start shooting promptly at 9.
Hmm.
And then of course the crew have to take their breaks as well. So
Yeah.
um, sometimes we could end up getting into a day that's like, it's like 8 o'clock before we're leaving. And if you're filming a scene that's in the afternoon, you're there from 6 in the morning to that 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So they try to make sure they can schedule you better, but sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes they film 2 shows in a day where they're filming pieces of a show because they're taking place on the same set. So
Right.
this makes it work. They can get these all shot right away, but that means you're learning 3 shows, not
Right.
just one. So
Right.
it's a hard as a performer because of the memorization
Yeah.
and the fast pace that it goes.
Right. And from what I heard, and I don't know how true it is, maybe you can clarify, but it's not like, a movie script where you can, do some improvisation. It's like, oh, that really worked good. Like I heard they're actually strict on having every word memorized on the script. Is that
Well,
true?
they want everything memorized, but again, some of them, you know, there are writers who write as you speak, and there are writers who write as you read.
Hmm.
If one of the writers writes as you speak, the dialogue is easy to learn.
Hmm. Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
if it's a writer that writes as you read, then it takes a little bit more because it's more on the page, not as somebody performs. And usually the writers that write as you speak, sounds kind of convoluted here, but they also write for you,
Right.
for that character. They know the little extra things you throw in, and they
Right.
start putting them in there for you. So
Right.
because I'm always saying, now hun, and that's not there, but then every once in a while one of the writers will have, now hun. So
Right.
it's kind of that way. I think the writers are incredible in the fact that and they change over, and they may go to another soap or they may go on to something else,
Yeah.
but they're all wonderful, and they have hard schedules too, because you know they get a show they've got to write in a week, and
Yeah.
that's not just for me, they got to write it for every character for that week.
Absolutely.
So it's, you know, again, it's a hard genre for
Right. And
everybody.
right. And a lot of people blame the soaps. Like currently, the current storyline, they're blaming, the Paulina character because she's an African American character, and she's using, she's like, there's no black, stores in the square, and she's like, you're just that white woman type of thing. But that's stuff that's going on in the real world. I mean, it's not the first thing that they do controversial in the history of the soap. Like
It's trying to do it, but I think sometimes all the soaps need to listen more to the fans, because the
yes,
fans are what keep you on the air. They're the
absolutely.
things that go on, and when you have people that have been watching for 40, what now it's what, 60 something years,
Yeah,
they are,
absolutely.
please don't just abandon us with stuff that we don't know who these people are, why they're
Exactly.
there, and it's too much BS. Just get to me, get to my people, get my
Right.
stories going.
Yep.
So
Absolutely, and I completely agree with you 100%. Like if it wasn't for the fans, then there would literally be no Days of Our Lives, because who would tune in? You know what
yeah,
I mean?
but that's as well for an actor. If we don't
Yeah.
have fans or people don't like what we do,
Yeah.
you know, I remember on the show that when before Martha Madison came on, there was
Mhm.
another young lady,
I
and
remember that.
she is up in makeup and hair, and they called her down to, or up to the office and let her go, and Martha's in a chair 4 chairs over getting made up to take her place.
Wow.
And you
That's
know
crazy.
she had just had flowers sent to her as a congratulations
That's
from
crazy.
one of her friends, and
Yeah.
unfortunately the phones lit up. The phones lit up for me, and they said, oh my god, this woman's wonderful, how great, I can live through her. If she can get that good husband, I can get that good husband. This is so wonderful. And that's bingo, we had a contract.
Right.
Unfortunately she aired, and the fans went, we
Right.
don't like her, we want her gone.
Absolutely.
And they did.
Yeah. And the thing
So
is, like,
it's tough. It's not, you know,
mhm,
you think you're doing a good job, and then you found out that the fans didn't like you. I
right.
listen. God bless the fans, and
Mhm.
especially the daytime fans, because again, that's why shows are on 60 years and 50
Mhm.
years, because it's generational and they love to watch
Yeah.
their stories.
Absolutely. One thing I always said is that even when you get a recast, give them a chance. Don't railroad them because they're not who was previously playing them. I know they're recasting EJ Demera, and I said I don't know who the guy that's replacing him is. I posted this in the one group I'm in. I'm like I don't know who's replacing him, but I didn't know Marcy Miller when she was replacing Kate Manzi as Abigail. I didn't know, Katie McLean when she replaced Miss Melissa Reeves as Jennifer. I gave them a chance, and I really enjoy them. The same thing with the Claire character. So
Well,
give them a
that's what
chance.
happens, because once they air, that's when the phones ring. And if
Yep.
the phones don't ring, people are happy. But
Yep.
if the phones do ring,
Yep.
that's why if a new character comes on and you like this person, you as a fan should call your local
Yep.
NBC and just say, "Tell Days of Our Lives I love this new casting. It's fabulous." That's all
Right.
you have to do. Or
Absolutely.
call up and say, "What the hell were you thinking?" So,
All it
but
takes is a
again,
phone
as
call.
fans, you do have some say, and
Yeah.
again, God forbid they try to replace Hope,
Right.
because that's going to be,
Hmm.
if they decide, there would be,
Yeah.
no,
I mean, it would
that
be nice.
that won't be acceptable, and there'll be
Right.
the woe be it to the actress. So
Right. It would be nice to have Hope on the canvas, yes, but Kirsten Alfonso. Kristen Alfonso, she's the one. I mean, for me, she's been there how many years? You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be hard to get used to her. I mean, it was hard to get used to Katie McLean as Jennifer as well because of Missy Reeves. But
yeah,
I mean, she did a good job, but it was hard to get used to it because you're used to Missy Reeves for all these
yeah,
years.
because she's family. She's been coming
Right.
into your house for years, and
Absolutely.
suddenly it's a loss, and
Yep.
it's hard to accept that a new person.
Absolutely. And I mean, I would hope Kristen Alfonso comes back at some point, but I don't think she's going to. She said that she doesn't want to, and I mean that's the way it is at times. Sometimes they've been there for what 30 years or whatever, and they want to
Yeah,
move on. They want to move on
it's
with their career. Yeah.
well, and look at what she moved on. She did the Hallmark thing with Allie, and
Yeah.
then she's now doing this three movies thing that was just, great, and
Yeah.
gave her, um, she wasn't the sweet Hope. Suddenly she was a vicious bitch. So,
Right.
it's kind
Exactly.
of like, what great opportunity to show
Ab-
her acting chops in a different
Absolutely.
genre. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and she did. I didn't see it, of course, but I heard she did amazing, and I have it DVR'd, and I want to definitely look at that. Maybe that'll be a tonight thing while I'm because there's no professional wrestling on tonight, so maybe I'll watch it. That'll be my thing. I don't. For those that are listening to this when this airs, because it will be airing right after the interview, I want to let everybody know that if you're on my Facebook, don't skip past this part. But I'm making lobster ravioli today. So maybe lobster ravioli and some vicious hope will be my night.
Oh, Lordy,
That'll be exciting.
that'll
Uh,
be nice.
yes,
A little
absolutely,
bit of Christian, and whoa, ravioli.
absolutely, absolutely. So next question is, which storyline that you were involved in on Days was your favorite to film?
I have to say the first things coming in were great, but filming with Nurse Allie and
Yeah,
making her go nuts, and uh, going after the chief of staff position, and all that was fun. And our trip to Vegas, leaping into trash cans and getting
yeah,
locked up in jail, and that was a fun experience. It was a lot of fun. So
that's
yeah.
awesome. Were you ever on location at all, or were you always on set in
No,
Cali?
we did everything. The incredible set builders built the jail for us, built
Nice.
this long window we had to jump out of, and dragged in a garbage can and threw us in that. And so it was a lot of fun. Yeah, a
That
lot of
is
fun.
really cool, actually. Was it really garbage in that, or was it just like papers and
There
all
was
that?
garbage, but there wasn't food garbage. So
Okay. That's a good thing at least.
yeah, yeah, no garbage.
So, what was the best part about working on Days of Our Lives, and what was the worst?
Oh gosh. Well, the best part is just, having Nadia to be my daughter, and her family, and I know all of her family and stuff. We don't talk as much as I talk with her mother in Sweden. So making those relationships, my relationship with Kevin is still ongoing and strong. And if you haven't, and I know you're busy, but try to see Riley's, oh gosh, I start crying because the show is so good. Riley's, I can't, what the hell, now I can't think of the name of it because my brain went, but it's about, it's a spinoff of After Forever. It's like a next episode, and it's the kid in it, Finn. His project is to interview the people that loved the gentleman that passed away.
Nice.
Incredible. And I think it touched everybody so much because Michael Slade died before he got to see it. It was just in its final cut, and they were ready to do it, and he passed over. So Kevin's done some wonderful things with this, and I can't speak highly enough of it.
That's awesome. And I know we exchanged, information, and that if you can reach out to Kevin on my behalf, I know I'm talking to one of my friends, Hayden. She's also a Days of Our Lives fan, by the way. She's talking with him about some stuff. I can't really get into details, but I know that she was going to mention to it, but I know, they're busy doing what they have to do. So even if you could put a word into Kevin to talk,
well, honey, just put your own word in. I'll give you his email.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I'll edit this part out.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot we were. Hi, everybody. Ditzy. I'll give it to you when we're over. I won't do any more of that till we get where we're going. Okay,
we'll do it
because
after.
You don't want me to put that on the air, Kevin. No. Thank you, hon. Thank you.
Where are all these emails coming from?
Oh my God. Jeez. Thank you for saving me.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah, I was thinking, wait, we are recording. I was like, she can't give that. He's gonna get all these unwanted emails. We can do it after the interview.
Who did this? And then there's my shining face somewhere. Patrika Darbo said, "This is your email." Oh God. Anyway,
hilarious.
What was my worst experience is what you're asking me next. I can't really think of. I think the worst experience is when you suddenly say, "This is your last episode. We're not picking you up anymore," and you realize that you're done working at this place. But then I got to come back again 3 more times. So, because I did the baby story with Ari and Nadia. So that's, I guess, always the hard time. And for an actor is when your gig is over, it's kind of hard to say goodbye to everybody. And but in this case, I didn't have to quite say goodbye because I got to come back. So.
Well, speaking of that was my next question. Now that Chloe is currently in Salem, is there a possibility that we could see a visit from Nancy Wesley?
I can't, if they ask me and I'm available, I would definitely go. But at this point, I think they've got so much on their plate, and they write their Bibles and story stuff way ahead. So who knows? Something could happen. Who knows? Right. But I had a great time. I would certainly go back, as any actor would say. I would definitely go back. Okay. There's only a couple people I won't work for anymore, but that's not one of them. So
awesome. And so I'm taking it they never contacted you on returning or anything.
Well, yeah, they have my number, my agents and everything, because I'm still with the same agent. They know how to get me if they want me, and I would definitely go back, as I know Kevin would. So, right.
Absolutely. And
though we are both working actors, so it's sometimes you got to be booked ahead a little bit,
Absolutely. And I do know that that I speak for myself, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of the fans out there, that we do you have me laughing so hard right now, it's crazy.
Klutz.
But I do speak on behalf of myself and the fans that we definitely would love a visit from Nancy Wesley. We do miss Chloe's scheming mother, doing something.
That's right. She's a manipulator, schemer. She's taking care of her family, hers, and that your problem. It's your problem if you don't like it.
Absolutely. So before I get into this last question of the day segment of it, I thought of a new question. And this is more of a joke question, but it is a question that is pretty funny. So how long do you have Parker? Because every time Chloe mentions where Parker is, he's with the mom.
Well, it's soap opera time. Remember, one day can, 6 weeks can be one day,
Right.
as the script can be just, it's still the same day. And whenever
Absolutely.
you see persons in the same outfit, that means it's still the same day. It's like, so,
Absolutely.
in reality, I maybe have only had him a week. So,
Good point.
uh,
I do find that that hilarious though. But of course, you can only have in the acting industry, children on set a certain amount of times. There's all these like, child laws and everything like that with acting.
well,
And
Parker's not a little kid anymore. Parker
that is true.
Parker is like, he's like a big working actor. And I think he's off doing some films right this
Is he
moment.
really?
But I think his dad told me he's now like 5'5" or
Oh
five.
wow.
I think he's a little taller than me now. So,
That's
so
crazy.
he's growing up. So,
That's
and he had
awesome.
a wonderful stint. You saw Parker on The Good Doctor. That
Oh yes.
he did a wonderful spot there. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's awesome. I can't believe he's grown up like that because the way they play it, it seems like he's still 4 or 5 years old. But then if they bring him on canvas, he'll be like
No,
30.
Nancy has gray hair from a daughter who's like teenager, and then this up and coming teenager.
Absolutely. So the last question I got for you is, and it seems like you do, but I'm not sure for like 100% sure, but do you still currently watch Days?
No,
You don't?
because I don't have time.
Right.
My days have been blessed doing podcasts.
Right.
I also am working on other projects. So it's
Right.
I can tune in every once in a while to see what's going on, but I have a feed that comes on my phone to tell me what's going on Days of Our Lives, or what's
Right.
going on in Bold and the Beautiful, or what's going on The Young and the Restless, what's going on in General Hospital. So I kind of keep up that way. But if I'm going to sit down and watch television, it's generally in the evening. I don't get time to do stuff as much in the
Yes, makes
daytime.
sense. And it's funny because like your publicist, and I reached out, I believe it was to your agent, and then they were, I think, forwarded me over to your publicist, if I'm not mistaken. And he is amazing. Like he really is really a sweet guy. He's got me so
He's
many interviews.
incredible, and he has such a wonderful roster. So,
Yes,
and I'm very grateful that he put us
absolutely.
together, and that
Me too.
you got to do what's her face suddenly. Hello, what's
Lizzie
her face?
Small.
Naomi.
Oh, Naomi. Yes.
But Naomi and Miss Small. She's
Yes.
again.
Absolutely. I have Lizzie coming on tomorrow, and I have Naomi next Tuesday, which is going to be fun. And
Well,
he will
please say
also.
hello to both of them for me,
I
please.
absolutely will. And he also said he's gonna help me get Michael Campion from Fuller House in May.
Oh, he's such another good kid, a wonderful
Yep.
kid, great actor. So yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah.
Yes, so I'm really excited about that. And it's funny because he messaged me, he's like, you're a horror podcast. Why do you want to interview Patrika about a soap opera? I'm kind of
Because
confused.
he doesn't often. He came with me to the 10th anniversary of the first Hatchet.
Yes.
And 5 minutes into the film, with all the blood and guts being flashed around, Anthony got it and went, I have to go now. I can't, I have to leave. I gotta go home. Bye. I'll talk to you later. He couldn't do it.
Yep.
Me, I'm sitting there with my eyes closed. My husband's going,
Right.
whoop, more blood. So
It's funny because he said, why didn't you interview her about Hatchet? She was in that, and that's a horror movie. I'm like, well, I forgot she was in Hatchet. I've seen it like once or twice. And then I'm like, that's right, she was in Hatchet. She's she was the lady that got her mouth torn apart.
yes, I got Liz. What's the horror magazine? Fangoria.
Fangoria.
Fangoria gave me a best kill ever. So yeah.
I was like, I forgot that was Patrika. I was gonna say Nancy. That was Patrika in that. I was like, I forgot all about that. So I'm like, you know what? How about I split it up, do Days of Our Lives and Hatchet? And this is the second time I'm doing this type of podcast where I'm doing about two different shows in one interview. The other one was with Days of Our Lives alumni Stacey Greason, who is in Friday the 13th Part 7 and on Days as Isabella Black. Which, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So, and I interviewed a
Excuse
couple
me,
of
I have the
days
hiccups.
people. I had Michael Manning and Michael Tay. They were recently in, and then I had also Christopher Sean, John's illegitimate son. So,
And I'm trying to think of the actor's name that not Yoon. He's on, I think he's on General Hospital, I think. He
okay.
was also one of the leads in the Days of Our Lives. I mean,
Okay.
in Hatchet.
Okay.
So
I have to look
anyway.
at I have to look at the roster after this though, but definitely because I seen Hatchet like once or twice, and I really would like to. I'd love like horror movies, obviously, and I
Yeah.
would love to get it, see that again to refresh my memory. And I think there's like 3 of them in the series too, if I'm not
Well,
mistaken.
you know, Kane Hodder is
Yes.
big
Yep.
name,
Yep.
and
Yep. He's
my
Jason
experience
Voorhees.
is as it's kind of like doing In the Line of Fire when John Malkovich kills me. They were both so wonderful about protecting and making sure they
Mhm.
didn't hurt me when
Absolutely.
John was killing me, and when Kane was doing this.
Doing
You
the-
know,
yeah.
no way could we get around the fact that it's the middle of the night and it's raining and cold and scrap, and he's got to stick these dirty hands in my mouth. But I went, there's not much I can do about this.
Right.
So I just, you know, and he had to lift me up to do this kind of stuff. And we got through it and got, and again, we got best kill. It was,
That's awesome. That's really cool. So, for those that are watching this that are Days of Our Lives fans, if you want to stay listening, please do so. If not, you can either turn it off or go to the end where we'll be promoting some of Patrika's upcoming projects and promoting her social media and all that. But until we get to that part, where this part of the segment, we'll get right into Hatchet. So this is for the horror fans. So first question is, how was your audition for Hatchet?
well, you know, it was kind of one of those things where I wasn't sure what the hell I was doing. And I'm not a big horror fan because again, you spend $20 to go to the movies, you get your popcorn, and then I end up throwing half the bag on the floor screaming. So I'm not a good, I'm like, ah. So, but it was good. The guys were there. I went in, I did my thing from the script I had. And then they asked me to do the part, which is great. And even though we filmed all of our parts in a swamp out in Santa Clarita, uh, and it was so cold. Oh my God. So we had on layers, but what they didn't think about with the layers is when they squirt you with water, now you can't dry out. You've got all this wet stuff all over you, and it's cold, and you're swamping through stuff and the bugs and the, but anything for showbiz. So,
Right?
but we, you know, it's like, they were trying to keep us warm, but there was no way to keep us warm because we had layers on, but then all of a sudden they got wet and every layer was wet to our, which also made it
Right.
hard moving through stuff. But listen, great cast, wonderful thing. Adam was a wonderful director, and it was a great experience.
That's great. And on a side note, I know I interviewed Terry Kaiser from Weekend at Bernie's. He was in Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. I interviewed him a couple years ago, and he was in with Kevin on Friday the 13th Part 7. And he told me the story about when they were filming in a swamp, and they actually had on set crocodile and rattlesnake wranglers because every single place they were filmed, there was a ton of crocodiles and a ton of rattlesnakes. Yeah, like so.
No, I was in a man-made swamp with man-made water squirting on me. No,
Yeah, I can
no.
only imagine. You said that he said while you're filming behind the camera there would be a rattlesnake wrangler, and a crocodile wrangler, all with these guns pointing and and there's a spotlight looking for anything. And there was the one girl that had to actually skinny dip in the lake. And in the lake, he said that they had a crocodile wrangler there and a rattlesnake wrangler because the lake was swarming with both of them. And she was such a champ, like she just like, let's get it over with, and she was literally had a skinny
Let's
dip.
do it. Let's do it now and get it over.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm going in there, especially if I'm going in naked, I won't. I want something wrangled out there.
Absolutely. So I mean, that the scene did come out really good. Like you could tell that it was done really well, and obviously they were all safe. And I interviewed her about it as well. She was one of my guests on my show, and I talked to her about it. And she said that they offered get a stunt double for her if she wanted, but if they did, she would have to be the only one because there wasn't enough money really in the budget because it's a low budget indie horror type movie. So, but she said no, let's just do it, get it out of the way. I don't want to postpone it a couple days or whatever. Let's just do it, get it over with.
Well, for me, it's kind of like those are the kind of things when you say, listen, you don't need to hire a stunt double. You don't have to do that. But on my contract, I'd like some points on the back end.
Exactly.
Because this is going to be a winner, and I'd like to get the extra money that you are saving now back there. So
absolutely.
Don't,
Absolutely.
and listen, it's a no until you ask. If I'm talking to any performers out there, it
Yep.
doesn't hurt to ask.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the worst they could say is no. You know
That's
what I
it.
mean?
It's already a no until you ask. So
Exactly. Absolutely. So you might as well
that's
just
anything in life. That's anything in life, Scott.
absolutely. Exactly. Like even with me conducting these interviews, I if I didn't ask to get you on my show, then I would have never had you on my show. But because I asked your publicist, I was able to have you on my show. I mean,
And
it
it's
would
my
never happen.
pleasure to be here.
And I'm so honored. I'm still ecstatic about this. So speaking of your death scene, so how was it filmed and prep? Like walk us through the process of getting all the makeup done for the scene and everything.
Well, I had to have my head, I had to go sit with my head in plastic and,
Mhm.
shoving little straws up your nose and waiting for all that. And I'm
Yeah.
sure somewhere on the camera that I dropped on the floor that I don't know where it is right now, I've got a picture because Adam kept the head like
Nice.
this.
That's
But it
awesome.
was just we were filming and we're walking up there to do stuff. So all you basically see is him grab me from behind or
Right.
start with me screaming, and then they kind of cut, and that's when they insert the other head going like
Right.
this.
When I first seen that kill, and I knew it was you immediately. I just forgot. I just couldn't. I was like, I couldn't believe you were in that. Like, I just totally skipped my mind. But I remember seeing that scene, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, what a kill!
And that is too, just like the young lady that swam in the water.
Yep.
I didn't care how many times we had to do it and how many times Kane had to put his fingers in my mouth to do
Right.
it, but I wanted it to be the best, and it turned out to be the best. Adam was
Obviously, you got
wonderful
that
with that.
award.
So
Yep.
was Kane, and and Richard Riley, who I was working with, has played Mister, that my
Hmm.
husband.
Right.
He gets killed that first, and then I get caught from behind trying to get away. And
Yep.
but Richard and I have done two Santa Claus movies together
Oh, nice.
with and the Puppy Star Christmas and In Search of Santa Paws. So
Oh, nice.
for the same company. So
That's awesome.
we've done three films together. So
That's
he's
really
really
cool.
a consummate actor too. So
That's really cool. That's awesome. Next question. In your personal opinion, what was the biggest difference or shift in your acting that you had to do from being in a soap opera like Days of Our Lives and being in a horror film like Hatchet?
well, as a performer, you read the script and that then you become that character. That's who
Yeah.
you want. So, and we've all been through training and stuff to teach us how to relax in, find the things we want to share about this character. Who is she? Where's she coming from? How long have they been married? Why are they on this trip? And, it's just a fun,
Right.
probably an anniversary trip. I mean, those are the kind of things you just have to do. Um, and a lot of times the director will tell you, I want her more soft here, less, this
Mhm.
kind of stuff. So as a trained actor, I draw
Mhm.
on certain things there. I also do some method. I think all of us are in a as performers draw on different
Mhm.
techniques that we've learned,
Right.
that work for us in whatever genre we're in. You know,
Absolutely.
so.
Yeah, and we spoke for a while, like 15 minutes before we actually started recording, and I was telling you about my movie and everything like that. And I know personally, I wrote the movie, I was a producer on it, I starred in it, and it's not easy being an actor. A lot of people think, oh, it's so easy to be an actor, it's so easy to be a writer. It really isn't as easy as it sounds. It
No,
is
so
a talent.
it's kind of like if you said to me, start crying right now.
Right,
Okay, what
right,
do I need to do? I'll go to that dark place and start sobbing.
right.
You find those things. What gives you joy?
Mhm. Yep.
That brings it to, it's those fun kids finding all of those things and how to.
Mhm.
It's the most important thing I can say to any actor is be real. Tell the
Yeah.
story and be real.
Yep.
Let it come from your soul,
Yep.
and that it'll
Absolutely.
always work for you.
Absolutely. I remember when I was working for a small streaming, like TV streaming type of company in our small town of Ashland in Pennsylvania. One thing of advice he gave me that I took away from it that really helped me be unique and not who I am, because you're obviously not playing yourself, you're playing a character. One thing I took away from it was is that you're gonna feel weird in certain scenes because it's produced. He said it's going to be produced. So you whoever you're playing, you get in that role. You think I'm not Scotty McCoy. I'm, so and so.
Well, that's the whole, that mean, it is called acting. You're acting
Yep.
as another part. You're acting,
Yep.
but we all find things that are us
Yep.
to bring to that.
Yep.
Listen, Nancy was a scheming such and such stuff. Well, I'm not that way, but if I have to protect my husband or my friends,
Yep.
look out,
Yep.
look out. So those kind of things I drew from to bring to Nancy.
Yep.
Trying to take care of my husband and being upset. I put myself in a place. Here's this woman that's on a vacation. The boat goes, there's crocodiles around, there's snakes, there's crazy person howling in the bushes.
Yep.
Real life, that's not there. So I had to find things and stuff. What would, but mostly it was like self-preservation and my husband's preservation, sticking together. And,
Absolutely. I know, I actually asked my dad permission for this before I started doing it. But when I act, and if I'm in like a sad scene where I have to cry, I asked my dad if I can use his initial diagnosis of being, diagnosed with brain cancer. And every time I have to cry, I think to that moment, because I remember when I first got told, it was a shock. And I remember the whole hospital probably heard me scream. And it was horrifying, because me and my dad are really close, as are me and my mom. And I mean, they've been married for over 30 years. My mom never left my dad's bedside. And
I think finding that point, that your dark place, I call it.
Yes.
A lot of times when I first started working with Nadia, she was like 18 years old, and she had lost her father, that they didn't even know he had cancer, because he asked their mother not to tell them.
Right.
So I just said to honey, find that place, find that feeling when you realize your dad was going to, and that she pulled that up out of her training, and she was, it gave her a little something extra to work with. I think for you, probably the most devastating part of that was the fact he only has to live.
Yep. Exactly.
It's not like when you say to someone, you have cancer, we're going to have to take you in and operate on you. It's but he may not make it.
Yeah.
That's when that comes up, and you start, got you.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, even like just seeing how he is now, like, he had the stroke, so like he has to use a walker and a cane, and he literally just fell and broke his hip because it's hard for him to get around. And like his his whole left side is paralyzed, so he has no feeling in his left side because he had the stroke on his right side of his brain. And like it's the fact that he has to live with this the rest of his life now, like even like in the cancer,
but he has a rest of his life.
But he has the rest of his
find
life.
joy in that. Find joy in that. Find joy in that.
So there's a bonus in both of it, the joy part and the sad part.
Yes.
That's where you
find the joy. Always find the joy.
Absolutely. I thank you for that. So next question I got for you. Same thing as Days of Our Lives. This one was one of them I kind of brought over. What was the best part about filming Hatchet, and what was the worst?
The best part was riding in the bus in the warmth and the kind of, the worst part was getting cold and wet, because the temperature was in the low 60s.
Yeah.
It was it was cold, and then the water was cold, though they kept saying we're going to put warm rain. Well, hell, that's not warm, that's cold, especially when you're already soaked to the bone. So that was the worst part, but I'd do it all over again because I had fun.
That's great. And it's funny because like every horror actor I interview, they always say that they have so much fun filming horror movies. Like it's just so much fun, and just dying alone. Like I think I die better than I've been told I die better than I sometimes give dialogue, which I guess is a good compliment.
Let me think.
But it's just fun. I mean, it could be kind of weird, but it's fun, like being an adult and pretend die. You know what I mean? And pretend.
You're working. First, you're a working actor with a great bunch of people, and you trust the director, and so you're up for anything. You'll do anything. You may come off going, "Can I have a coat? Something. It's warm. Where's the heater?" Right. That kind of stuff. And again, when they're low budget features, a lot of the amenities for a multi-million-dollar film, there we don't have those.
Right. Absolutely. So. And especially like a lot of the films, especially from the 70s, 80s and all that, they were low budget films. Now Hatchet was released, what year was it? 2015 or 2005, something like that. I might be off somewhere there,
I,
but
truthfully, I'm not going. I don't remember when it was.
I think it was 2000. Was it
Honey,
2015?
listen, when you get to be my age, time just kind of goes whoop, whoop,
Yeah.
and you
For
go,
some reason, I drew a
wait a
blank
second, that was 20 years. Well, like I said, in the line of fire, I still get recognized for that in the grocery stores or on the street, generally by men who like go, why did you let that man in your house? What the hell is wrong with you? And why the dog tied up? What is, and I'm like going, oh, thank you. That was pretend. I appreciate it, but I'm here. So, but it's like that was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that it was impactful for the audience, and that it was also the fans of it. I still get lovely things from that too.
That's
Like,
awesome.
oh my God, what was it like with Kane Hodder's fingers in your mouth, and oh God, why'd you let John Malkovich in your house? So
Right. Absolutely.
so at least I know I did a good job. So
Absolutely, that is your job, and you do amazing with it. Especially like
thank you.
even like you being the bitch on Days of Our Lives. Like people, if they hate your character, like hate the fact that you're manipulating and scheming, that means you're doing your job.
Well, it just when I first I think it was probably 2 weeks after I aired and I was doing stuff. I did an event at the City of Hope here in California,
Right.
and in the park when I was going to the place where we were signing pictures for them, two little old ladies came up and popped me in the arm like this. You leave Carrie and Mike alone. Stop it. You need to stop it now. And then they went, can we have your autograph? And I was like, you just hit me and now you want my autograph? They went, we just love you, but you better leave Carrie and Mike alone.
It's funny because I see a lot of people in the groups like talk like that, and I'm like I mean, I find it humorous to an extent, but I find it awesome because these are real fans. Like it feeds on your emotions.
And it makes you know that you're doing a good job in the character that you're doing, and they don't hate you, they hate her. So
Absolutely. And it's really great, and I think that's the brilliant part of acting. But there's also the downside of it, and this happened maybe a year, 2 years ago or so. But Camila Banis, or is that how you pronounce her last name? I think Banis. She plays Gabby Hernandez, and because her character was such a scheming bitch, she was actually getting death threats on Twitter, and it makes me sad that people are threatening the actress who is just doing her job and acting what she's been given. Like
it's crazy, but honey, there are crazy people out there.
Absolutely.
So you know what? There are fans who are crazy in one way, in a joyful, we love you way, and then there are fans that can't separate reality and the soap they're watching, which is unfortunate. And listen, hon, I had death threats on Step by Step.
Oh my God.
A kids show. Some guys wrote and said he was coming down to kill all the women. Oh my God. We had to have guards. We had to have wristbands, and everybody had to have a wristband. If you didn't have a wristband, what the hell were you doing there? And some guy would come and whisk you away and to protect us. So there are crazy people out there. Just be aware all the time and move away. Move away.
Absolutely.
Don't engage, move on.
Absolutely. And that's the worst thing to do, is actually engage in their threats, because doing that is going to provoke them.
It fuels the fire. They know they've gotten you. They know they've gotten to you. If you don't address it or do something, they have no idea if you're seeing it. Absolutely. So until the news comes up and says, so-and-so has been threatened. Well, that gives that person fuel now, because he's now in the limelight. So just ignore creepy people.
Absolutely. And I mean, for the most part, we have like the Days, fans they're great, and even the horror fans, they're amazing. Like they're all their own community, their own family.
Well, it is, and it's a genre they love. Again, it's not my favorite because I lose my popcorn and have to sit there with my eyes closed through the whole thing. Or what's happening? What's happening? And then you're peeking through like like this. That's the way I watch horror. So reading the script, I was like, what? We're in the swamp? What's happening?
Absolutely. You're wearing your popcorn, you're decorating your clothes.
It's like, Crazy time, crazy time.
Absolutely, but the things for me personally, I'm the type when jump and get scared. My partner always laughs at me. He's like, "What are you jumping for? Like, what do you? I would never pay $20 to go see this. Why are you paying $20 to go see this? Like, and you're dragging me along." I'm like, "I'm paying." He's like, "Yeah, because I would never pay for." He's like,
Well,
"Why?"
you know what,
I'm
honey?
like,
If
"It's
he doesn't,
adrenaline."
if he doesn't want to go, don't make him. You know,
You
just
know,
tell him to pick you up later and buy you a nice dinner.
he's gonna love seeing this interview.
I didn't stay the hell home if he doesn't want to eat.
Yeah, especially like because I really want to see Halloween Kills when it comes into theaters, and I'm telling him, I'm like, you definitely going to see Halloween Kills with me. We gotta go. It's date night. We haven't gone on a date in over a year. We're going to see Halloween Kills. He's like, have fun by yourself.
I was like, no. Well, that's me with my husband going, no, I'm not going to see that. I don't want to. No, I'm not
Yep.
going. I'm not going. Not
You
going to
get your
do
way.
that. Yeah, I'm not. What?
You get your way.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's the thing. One thing that he has to remember: happy wife, happy life.
Well, also too, you don't always have to be a couple up front, hon. You always
Absolutely.
have to remember that you have your times together that are wonderful, and both of you have separate lives. And
Absolutely.
if my husband is, if he says he doesn't want to go, I don't pressure him. I get another date. Come on, let's go. Another boyfriend or another girlfriend, and off we go. And if he doesn't want to go, he can invite whoever he wants to and go.
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
just don't be a couple up front. You don't have to be. Just
Yeah.
love your times together and love each other and trust each other to that
Absolutely.
nothing else matters. And then you stay home and I'll have dinner when I get home. Thank you.
Absolutely, right? So the
Yes.
last is this the last question? No, it isn't actually. Next question I got for you is let's see. Okay, yeah. What motivation did you use to perform and pull off your small chase scene up to your death in Hatchet? Was it hard to pull off, and can you elaborate?
Honey, no, it wasn't hard to be because I put myself in her place. And
Right.
when this big, huge thing, deformed creature comes running out at you, has just chopped your husband in half, there is nothing going to keep me there. I'm out of there. I'm out of there. I didn't have to draw on anything. He's scary. Oh my God, what he's done
Right.
to my husband. It's me time. Out of here. Start
Right.
getting away. So,
Right.
you know,
One thing I heard about Kane Hodder, especially from the Friday films, now I didn't hear it, I didn't interview anybody else from Hatchet, so I don't know how he was there. But when he was in character, he always stayed away from the actors so he can come off more
yeah, I
menacing.
mean, he did. And so when he comes out of that house,
Hmm.
you
Right. So
you
it's
you
like you
you're
just
in your
yeah.
character's mood and stuff, and you've been freezing all night. You're going
Mhm.
there, and this creature comes out at you and with a hatchet and scraps your husband, and then you know and then
Right.
grab it. So there was nothing when I get pulled back by him like this. So yeah, you become, it's again part of the tools you use
Right.
as an actor.
Right. And
And
that's
then the director tells you where he wants you to run, what you have to do. So you've got to be thinking, this is where I've got to go. This is, I'm in the lens.
yeah.
Um, those kind of things. So yeah.
Right. And the death it was done really smooth and well. Like you just started running and then he catches up to you and just rips your
Yeah.
head
Yeah.
apart. Like it was done so well. It was really well thought out.
And again, Kane being the consummate professional there,
Yeah.
he made sure that I wasn't going to get hurt because he's a strong guy. So when he
Right.
pulls me back and lifts me up and starts ripping my head,
Mhm.
though he doesn't do it, he has to
Right.
remember to stop at point.
Right.
He has to stop.
Right.
So so
And that's the
again,
thing, like your job as an actress is to, memorize your lines, get into the character and all that. Whereas his job, he's not really an actor. He is what is called a stunt man. So his job is to know when to do the stunt and not hurt the actor. And that's his job. And he's really a good actor.
but mine too is to make sure that I'm where I need to be and that
Yep.
I give him everything
That
that
he
he's
needs.
giving back to me. I mean,
Absolutely.
when in those kind of scenes, it's a mutual kind of thing. Both actors have to be prepared to do what they need to do to make it real
Absolutely.
for the audience. And
Right.
that's what any actor wants to do, is make it real for
Yes.
the fans, the audience watching. That's important.
Right. Because nobody's
Oh, I'm so tired. Like sinus is like, what the
problem.
hell?
Not
Anyway,
a problem. So yeah, and the thing about like you don't want to go to see a movie, and you don't want to see a scene where obviously like you do your part, he does his part, you work together to do it. You don't want to go to a movie where the death is just going to look so fake and so subpar. Like you want it to look as good as it possibly can,
And you
which
want
is
it to be real. You
absolutely
want everybody to go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's again back to being real in the performance that you give.
Yep. And the thing is,
Find that terror, find that horrible thing. Now, quite frankly, I've never been in the woods in the middle of the night with a cold as hell and some creepy person running around. So that's where you kind of draw from your imagination and
absolutely
all your training from that thing going,
right.
okay, I am in this horrible place. And oh my God, what's that in? Honey, honey. Ah, ah, all those kind of things. So
Absolutely, and
yeah.
Kane Hodder, definitely a professional. I did reach out for an interview. He's so busy that he's unable to get an interview with, like he's not able to give me one,
It
which I
is
can
hard.
see.
He's in
Yeah,
demand, so it is hard sometimes. So.
absolutely, and I completely understand. No ill will at all. I mean, maybe someday I'll get him. Who knows? It'll be nice. But last question for Hatchet. As an indie filmmaker, obviously we spoke about that a little bit. I love filming and being part of horror films. You as an actor, what do you prefer? And you kind of mentioned this, but soap operas or horror films, and why?
Well, soap opera, I'm in the studio, I'm warm and toasty. I get to wear diamonds and luxury, and people do my hair and my makeup, and I look fabulous. And then in a horror film, you're on your own, baby. So, though we
Right.
have hair and makeup and stuff like that, it's not always the pretty things.
Right.
Uh, it's more like now, Hatchet was a horror film for
Right.
me. Doing The Vagrant, that is more of a uh, mind, somebody losing their mind kind of.
Mhm.
Is he real or is he not real? Is the vagrant real or not real? Who is he? Is he the person that's doing the things wrong? I mean, so there's a different
Absolutely.
mindset on what's going on. But
Mhm.
as a working actor, just ask me to do something, and unless I find it morally offensive, I'm in, because
Right.
I'm a working actor, and
Yeah.
um, again, I will not do a fat joke because somebody thinks it's funny.
Mhm.
Um,
Absolutely.
but I don't, if I think of my fans at home and stuff going, they're not going to think that's funny. So I don't think it's funny either. So
Right.
I'm not doing that. Thank you. I'm
Mhm.
leaving. I'll walk out of the audition, and I have. Um,
Absolutely.
but if it's morally something where you find out that there's retribution for that horrible thing that person's doing, and
Yeah.
it teaches a lesson, then I'm in for that. But that's fine
Absolutely.
with me. But for just a laughing joke, it's uh, all the stereotypical crap
Mhm.
from that's going on everywhere right this moment, and we're now trying to find a happy medium. Though I think
Mhm.
we go a little far
Yeah.
to one way, that we should rethink about it, because
Yeah.
we've tipped the scales too much, I think.
Absolutely.
And we need to level off. And I think when we level off, then we say we are all the same. But
Hmm.
if you keep swaying back and forth, you're putting somebody in a position of they have to be better, or why are they better than me? And then that starts the crap all over again.
Right.
So if once we can get those scales level and we realize that we are all the same,
Right. Absolutely. We are,
we
and
are truly all the same.
right.
We just and there are 3 songs in my life that impact me from this. One is from South Pacific, where it sings, children have to be carefully taught.
Yeah.
And also from the Broadway musical, and also was the film Into the Woods,
Mhm.
and that's Will Children Will Listen.
Okay.
But a funny one is from Avenue Q, which is everybody's a little bit racist. So, and they're so poignant, all of those songs. So
Yeah.
basically, you treat people the way you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
Color, uh,
Sexuality,
nationalities,
religion. Yeah.
sex.
Yeah. Who cares? We're all
Again,
human. We're all
we
human.
all put one leg in a pants and one leg in the other pants. We
Right.
also both drop them to go to the bathroom, and
Yeah.
neither one of us are never going to go to the bathroom, but we're all going to sit down for one of them. I'm telling you right now. So we're the
Absolutely.
same. Period.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely. And we're all humans. Why
There you go.
I never
There we go.
understood.
And no, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Right. I never understood why is it so hard for everybody to get along. What's so hard about it? Like, and it's harder for me because I'm, obviously in the LGBTQ community, and my partner is African American. And I mean, it's harder for him, and it's harder for, for us being in an interracial relationship. I just never understood racism. I mean,
I don't understand it any way it goes right now. And
yeah,
we have my publicist Anthony, and I have a friend who was mugged coming out of a store
yeah,
about 6 to 8 weeks ago now, or maybe months, 5 months ago. It was 5 months ago,
yeah.
and these two guys beat her up, broke her wrist, broke her leg, bloodied her up pretty bad, and just ran off. And it was 9:30 in the morning, but there was nobody on the street, and this was on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles.
Wow.
And in about 5 minutes, as she's laying on the sidewalk, broken leg, broken wrist, and everything, finally people start coming out of the building, are like, oh my God, what happened here? And there were no cameras around to see anything, and no people and it was just a totally
Insane.
random racist moment, and there's no sense in that.
There's absolutely no
And I love the fact that when that poor little old lady got beat up downtown and whacked in her nose, that she turned out and beat the hell out of the guy that attacked her, and they had to take him off in the ambulance. It should never have happened, but thank you. I just right back at you. It's like, stop with this. Stop.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, we're all, like you said, we're all the same person. We're all human. Like, not the same person, but you know what I mean? Like, we're all human. Like, if you don't want to be treated or beaten or attacked or insulted or whatever, then why would you do it to somebody else?
And again, it's like, if you don't like what's going on, walk away. Walk away.
You have that free will.
And
Yep.
just, because it is free will for both of you, the attacker and the person being attacked. Turn and don't engage, go away, and or start singing on the top of your lungs so people come out. Never yell help, always yell fire, because people will come to a fire, but they're like, oh shit, I don't want to go help anybody, so yell fire. People will come.
Absolutely. Good point. Good point. So the last question I got for you is, any films, projects in the works, social media accounts, or websites you'd like to promote to the listening and viewing audience?
But you can always get me at Darbo Patrika on Instagram, and just Patrika Darbo on Facebook.
Awesome.
You can email me at TOTOFANS, totofans@yahoo.com. That's where my fans email me when they want, and I try to get back to everybody I can. But if you're ugly, forget it. That's not my email. So, I've got a couple things that I sounded NDA on. I can't talk about. Would love to share with you. But I'm a working actor, so I'm working.
Right. Absolutely. Well, there's a way they can find out about those, and that is checking your IMDb. And once it's released and announced, it'll be right on your IMDb, right?
There you go.
Absolutely. I thank you, Patrika, for joining me. It's been an honor. I'm so glad that you have decided to join me today.
It was my pleasure. I'm honored.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. You have a great rest of your day, and you stay safe.
You too, hun. Take steps and tell your hubby that you want dinner out, and he could stay at the bar while you go see the movie and just pick you up later. So
sounds good.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, honey.
Right. Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.